Hey guys, so they have just revealed Ezio's kit, and here I have looked through the kit, and here I want to explain to you how it works. Exactly how it will work may not be as what I will be saying in this video, but I believe it should be quite close to what I'm expecting. To understand Ezio's kit, first of all, he has multiple kits. It depends on the weapon that you bring into the fight. So he has three forms. One is for follow-up attack, one for ultimate, and one for poison. So I will go through one kit by one kit, how he can synergize with the character that we already have, and what form of gameplay that you will be expecting. But to first understand his general kit, let us look at his mechanics, which is synchronization and assassination. So first of all, he does not have Moxie. It is replaced by this new mechanic called synchronization, but basically it works just like Moxie, but he just gained it in a different format. And apart from that, the other main part of his kit is assassination, and this is a mechanic shared by all the Assassin's Creed characters like Cassandra as well as Alexios. So assassination, the attack gains a final damage increase based on the crit technique points the attacker has over the target. So let's say, for example, if you are dealing 1000, but because it is an assassination, maybe you are dealing additional 10,000 based on your crit technique, or it can be more if you push a little bit even more crit and crit damage. So this one I'm seeing a very strong synergy with Flutter Page, right? Flutter Page based on crit damage multiplier, and then here it further increases it, so it's going to be kind of crazy, which I believe this team will be able to compete with the like of Impromptu, Blood Tie, Dynamo, the Recoleta Ultimate. I believe Ezio will be at least on par, or if not even better than them. Now, apart from synchronization and assassination, there's another major mechanics for Ezio, and that is counter. So his skill 2, Serve the Light, is a counter incantation, and it will inflict icon on the enemy, and he will put himself into this status known as fighting experience. So fighting experience basically every time after an ally is attacked. So the enemy attack your party, then Ezio will riposte with counter kill. So first of all, I do not know counter kill, is it a rank incantation? I believe it is not, so it's just an attack that deals relative damage, and this attack is counted as assassination. So this works like Jay or Babel after Babel uses her ultimate. And Icot should be a debuff that he inflicts on the enemy and draws the enemy attention, so now the enemy will be attacking him. So apart from a DPS, he is somewhat like a tank as well. So due to his insight, when he is being attacked while in fighting experience, he takes lesser damage. We do not know exactly how much lesser. And if the enemy has Icot, he takes even lesser damage. So again, we do not know, but if it's really very high damage reduction, then he will be a very good tank for the team. And Insight 3, when being attacked, if Ezio is low on HP, he removes Icot from all the enemies, so now he doesn't taunt. Technically, the enemy will not aim him only, but he will aim the entire team. So this is to prevent him from being overly attacked by the enemy and die. But do note that if the enemy attack the ally, he will still do riposte, so it doesn't really matter. And here, after he dispel or remove Icot, he will enter Shadow Walk status. So Shadow Walk increases critical damage when attacking. So here, if you are playing with maybe some HP reduction team like with Semmelweis or with Jay, then this actually means that Ezio will deal even more damage if you bring his HP lower. So with Semmelweis Eternity, you might be able to achieve that. And do remember, Semmelweis and Eternity further reduces damage taken. Anyway, other than that, when an ally triggers an assassination, including himself, he is an ally technically, he will gain a stack of Apprentice Assassin. And when you have sufficient stacks, then it will convert into Master Assassin. Now, Master Assassin enhances the effect of assassination, which means it will allow him to do even more damage. And if there's other character that has assassination in their kit, like Cassandra and Alexios, they will also do more damage because he can grant this character Master Assassin status as well. So with Synchronization, Assassination, and Riposte, which form his main mechanics, the rest of his skill and ultimate is just to do more damage. So skill 1 is a one target attack, deal relative damage, and this attack is counted as an assassination. Ultimate, he will be able to choose from 2 attacks, Arrow of Faith or Age of Faith, and he get to cast it multiple times. How many times exactly, I'm not sure, but which one you will want to attack with is based on the target's HP. So depending on your HP, then you want to choose the correct attack, HP below or above. So I felt if you are a player from HSR, this felt like Facial's ultimate, where you can click 2 different type of attack, but actually one would be preferred over the other depending on the enemy status. And at the end of it, he will do one big attack, which is Death Be Not Unkind, which also a single target attack, deal relative damage, and this counts as an assassination. But one thing I want to note here is that assassination gave him synchronization, which then let him out. But when you use this ultimate, it is not a basic incantation, so this assassination will not grant him synchronization. Alright? And one thing I'm not sure yet, does this whole ultimate consider as one attack, or each instances of using Arrow of Fate or Age of Fate is considered separate attack? If it does, it will be great because there's a lot of things that you can trigger using this, such as triggering more Genesis damage from Gush debuff, or like increasing Flutter Page Gas stack, so or even trigger Fatutu Shelf movement. But we are not sure yet. It might be just like Nautica, where everything is considered as one attack. So this formed the basic kit for Ezio. Now, he's able to switch between several type of archetype, right? And these are basically based on the weapon, which is primary and secondary weapon. The first weapon in the primary classification is follow-up attack. And if you choose ultimate, the second one, then it's based on ultimate. The third one is poison. For secondary, the first one is usually like a generic. The second one is focused on single target fights. The third one is mostly for multiple boss, multiple enemy fights. So it depends on which one, then you select the appropriate one. But to further explain to you, so we talk about the first one, which is the follow-up attack weapon. So Ezio's ultimate now count as an extra action. So if you have like Fatutu or Flutter Page, you will be doing more damage using the ultimate. I will not be surprised if this ultimate can hit almost as hard as Nautica's. But anyway, so Work in the Dark, which is his skill, I think the S1, inflict assassin mark on the target. So assassin mark is that when a non-Ezio player character actively attacks with an incantation, Ezio will do a follow-up attack on the enemy, and he will do S1, which is when in the dark on the enemy. If you choose the first arms weapon in the secondary weapon list, then he gained an additional state effect, which is when attacking, assess crit rate is converted to crit damage. So this is good, especially if you provide him with a lot of crits. The second one, after an ally takes an action, if an enemy dies, Ezio will cast Work in the Dark on the enemy with the lowest HP percentage. And the third one is when you use S2, Serve the Light, it now inflicts ICOT on all the enemies. And both fighting experience ICOT has extended duration. So in terms of gameplay, what I can see is that probably the status that he is in and the debuff that he casts is probably like 2 rounds. So you only need to use S2 every 2 rounds. And in between that, you want to use S1 every round. So you do that until the ultimate is available. The best is that his ultimate, you don't have to actively cast it. He will cast it automatically, right? So which means you don't need to waste 1 AP just to use the ultimate. So in this follow-up attack playstyle, he doesn't follow-up attack every time an enemy attack and every time an ally attacks. So he will be doing a lot, but you would want to bring him to a fight where the enemy can actually attack you. One thing interesting is that in this patch, there will be main bulletin. So I'm really interested to see how this main bulletin boss works with Ezio. Because if the boss is not going to attack Ezio that much, one whole big chunk of his kit will not be applicable. And then it will have the same thing where people will say that, oh, this character is not so good. It's just like Jay all over again. Yeah. So hopefully this boss is like the one that we get in patch 3.0, that the boss will attack even if it dies or even if it changes face. So here I'm expecting secondary weapon 1 is more damage because it converts crit rate to crit damage, so it favor party that fully boosts his crit and crit damage. If you use weapon 2, you want to fight against boss with minion, and killing the minion will result in Ezio doing additional follow-up attack on the boss, so now you get more attack out of it. Secondary weapon 3, due to the longer duration, I could see that this Ezio will be more AP friendly, so he will fit into other team that is very AP demanding, which means that you can maybe put him into another team where you have another follow-up attack DPS, like you put him with Liang Yue or you put him with Jiu Niangzi. And because of that, he's not actively casting a basic incantation, so he might get synchronization slower. So he's probably in this case more like a sub DPS role. But we will have to see. I do believe his damage will be broken either way. Anyhow, as for his teammate, here I have recommendation is Flutterpage and Keep Arena. With all the rank incantation that he will do when an ally attacks, he do the follow-up attack, which is rank. Riposte is not rank, but anyway, that will further increase like Flutterpage Gus. And then with that, more crit, so Keep Arena will also be able to provide enough shield for the party. And then if you add Mercuria in there, with all the rank incantation, Mercuria cosmic energy will be very high. And then this will basically form your new follow-up attack team. Another team here that I would recommend is Jay and Babel. So this is the full Riposte team. And I think shield is very good for Ezio because at one point, you probably want Ezio to be low in HP so that he get more crit damage, right? Yeah. Here, because he's doing so much counter attack and follow-up attack, I would think he might work with Fatutu and Kakania, okay, where all the instances of him doing the follow-up attack will trigger the shell movement and trigger the heal and trigger the Genesis damage from Kakania, and we know how good that is. So the last one here is Liang Yue. Again, this would prefer if you are using weapon 3 for Ezio, so he become more AP friendly. So with all the follow-up attack that Liang Yue does and Ezio doing follow-up attack as well, it might get pretty crazy. But so what about the Assassin's Creed characters? So here, Cassandra. I think he will go very well with Cassandra, especially he'll go with weapon on 1. But this depends on Cassandra's kit. I have read Cassandra's kit. I would classify her more as a sub DPS. But I'm not sure how AP intensive she is. If she's really AP intensive, then Ezio would want to use weapon 3. If not, weapon 1 and weapon 2 will be fine. Then this team basically focus on Fua, and they keep dealing attack and trigger assassination, and assassination will be enhanced. And then there's another debuff from Cassandra, which is lethal injury, and every time you attack an enemy with lethal injury, they deal additional damage as well. So these two characters will definitely pair very, very well together. Okay, and for the alt weapon, during the casting of Ezio's ultimate, each time Arrow of Faith and Age of Faith is cast, grant damage boost to the subsequent assassination attack during that ultimate. So it's just going to make it stronger and stronger and stronger. And after another ally casts an ultimate, Ezio gain Eagle Guidance and Synchronization. So which means he gain Moxie now when other ally uses ultimate. That is like Recoleta. So Eagle Guidance during the casting of Ezio's ultimate allow more cast of Arrow of Faith and Age of Faith. Secondary weapon, the first one, at the start of the round gain Synchronization. So this is better when you want to have a faster rotation. So he get, it's kind of like every start of the round you get 1 Moxie. The second one, when casting an ultimate, if the attack target has no other ally, gain a damage dealt bonus for this attack and gain Synchronization after the ultimate. So you want to use this if you're fighting against a single target enemy. And the third one, after an ally takes an action, if an enemy target dies, so you have to kill it. So it's kind of like Lucy, right? You have to kill it for it to trigger something. So every time an enemy dies, you gain Synchronization. So if you are like in a fight where the enemy kept respawning, then you definitely want to go for weapon 3. In terms of gameplay, I don't see a very big difference from the follow-up attack playstyle. Is that instead here you are gaining ultimate faster and you are using ultimate more frequently. So here, recommendation for weapon 1. I got a little bit confused earlier on. I thought the start of the round is just referring to the start of battle, but it's actually every round. So anyway, number 1 is for a more general, like you have a boss with minions, then you go for weapon 1. If it's just one boss, you go for weapon 2. If you have multiple enemy and minions that keep respawning and respawning, then you go for weapon 3. But basically it is very similar playstyle for the alt, regardless of the weapon that you use. So being alt based, you definitely want to bring alt support for him. So like Melania, Lopera, and Gertian. Gertian here I'm referring to Gertian Euphoria, which is in 3.0. Alright. For sustain, Medicine Pocket. Argus is also very good for a support, especially if against a single target enemy. Then here again, I'm not sure how many attacks we are doing during the ultimate. If it's really a lot and each instances again can trigger the shell, then again I would recommend Kakania and Fatutu. For the last variation of his kit is Poison. So Poison, every time he attacks, he inflicts poison. Including all the follow-up attack, he inflicts poison. And based on the number of poison, he does even more Genesis damage. And Assassination, instead of just increasing a final damage, it now boosts Genesis damage. So for secondary weapon, the first one, when attacking, inflict additional instant of poison. And if you look at the second one, when attacking, if the target has no other ally, so a single target, inflict additional instant of poison. So I believe the first one is 1 instant of poison, and then the second one will be 2 instant of poison, or it will be 2 and 3. Okay, so it's just 1 extra compared to weapon 1. For weapon 3, after an enemy targets die, the enemy instance of poison will be inherited by the enemy's allies. So it will transfer from one enemy to the other enemy. In terms of playstyle, again, same thing. Cast S2 every 2 rounds, so he does riposte. Every time he does riposte, he does poison. He does follow-up attack, he does poison. So the decision to go for weapon 1, 2, or 3 again is based on what boss you are fighting with. So multiple enemy, weapon 1, single target, weapon 2, boss with minions, weapon 3. For his teammate, obviously the first one is Tuesday. Okay, the array freezes poison, so more poison, more damage. And here I was thinking that you can couple him, Ezio, Tuesday, with J, because now J does riposte as well. And J riposte will inflict burn and has a chance to inflict poison due to Tuesday. So in that case, you further increase the poison stack on the enemy. Jessica, Euphoria 2, which is in patch 2.8, can inflict a ton of poison. AoE poison. So I believe she will also work well with Ezio. And Liang Yue, Peace Talent, can also inflict a lot of poison together with the follow-up attack and all the follow-up attack that Liang Yue does, which means Ezio will be doing a lot of follow-up attack as well and inflict even more poison. So overall, that will also enhance Liang Yue's attack, because Liang Yue's attack is also based on the number of poison. Then she will get more damage bonus when she does Peace, Bane of All Evil. Alright, so these are the characters that I recommend and characters that I will try once we get a hold of Ezio's kit. Anyway, I hope this video will give you a better insight of Ezio's kit. For Cassandra, I will do it tomorrow. There's too much thing going on with her as well, so it might take a little while for me to compile them and to explain them in the video. Alright, anyway, thank you for watching and have a good day.